Welcome to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Well, we are here in Kansas City at the Sprint Center every year, the site of this Big 12 championship. And our first game of the tournament, it's Bedlam Part 3, the number 9 seed Oklahoma, with Trae Young leading the way against the 8 seed Oklahoma State Cowboys. This is all, of course, part of the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship. And it has been a tremendous year in the Big 12. Here's how this tournament lays out. 2 games tonight to get things started. The 8-9 seed in the first one. The nightcap is Texas, Iowa State. And then everybody else waiting in the wings. The quarterfinals begin tomorrow afternoon. And hi, everybody. Welcome inside the Sprint Center. Dave Fleming alongside Robbie Hummel. Chris Budden is with us as well. We expect a really fun 4 days here in Kansas City. You do have to help me understand. I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that you got a league that has been dominated by one team. Kansas has won 14 consecutive regular season titles, and yet here we enter this Big 12 tournament championship, and it feels like a wide open race.
No, it certainly does, and we're gearing up for a weekend and probably a Big 12 tournament unlike any that we've seen ever before. There's 9 teams that feel like they can really win this tournament, especially with Udoka Azubuike's news today that he's going to miss the entirety of the Big 12 tournament. Wide open field, 2 teams tonight, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, trying to solidify their NCAA tournament chances.
Even the head coach of the number 10 seed, the last place Iowa State Cyclones, they've won 3 of the last 4 championships. He thinks they can make a run again here this week. So really, it is very unpredictable what's going to happen here in Kansas City. Our game tonight, let's focus on the Sooners and the Cowboys, Robbie. You got Trae Young and Oklahoma. It has been an up and down year for them, trying to build some momentum as they head toward the NCAA tournament.
Certainly up and down, but Trae Young has been an absolute superstar. And you look at any guy who has had 40 points 4 times, 30 or more 5 times, and 20 or more 14, and you have to just be so impressed with his ability to score the basketball and also find teammates. He's basically dominated awards season and is going to continue to do so. First team All Big 12 player. He's a Wooden and a Cousy finalist. Definitely going to be the freshman of the year, or is the freshman of the year in the Big 12 conference, and probably will be so also nationally.
Yeah, so Trae Young getting ready to go. It has not been an easy road for him, and particularly against Oklahoma State. He had that famous game you were in Stillwater for at Bedlam Part 2. Now Part 3 here tonight against the Cowboys team. You know, Brad Underwood leaves at the end of last year. Mike Boynton's hired, and everybody in Stillwater goes, who? Well, now they're not asking that question anymore, because I think they feel like this team has overachieved this year. Cowboys come in very hot, and he's become a really cool story. For more on him, let's welcome in Chris Budden.
Well, at the beginning of this season, Mike Boynton stood in front of his team. He held up a piece of paper, and on it, it showed that Oklahoma State was predicted to finish last in the conference in the preseason polls. He took that piece of paper, he put it in his pocket, and he told his team, we will never speak of this again. That same team went on to sweep Kansas in their meetings. They won against West Virginia in Morgantown, and they beat this Oklahoma team when they were ranked in the top 5. He will take none of the credit, though, for those wins. It's a testament to the chemistry and the senior leadership on this group, Dave.
All right, thank you, Chris. It is a very cool story. Mike Boynton's still a young guy. He feels like the right guy to lead this program heading forward. We're going to talk a lot about this tonight, Robbie. Oklahoma State's case for the NCAA tournament not being talked about a ton around the country. Tied for the most wins against the top 10. Tied for the most wins against the top 25. They won at Kansas. They won at West Virginia. They became the first Big 12 team since 2001 to sweep Kansas in the season series. It's a lot of quality for Oklahoma State. They have not lost to a team that's projected to be outside the NCAA tournament field, so there are no bad losses on the resume either.
Well, that's almost baffling that if you have no bad losses and you beat 4 top 10 teams, how can you not be in the NCAA tournament?
Oklahoma's 18-12. Oklahoma State's 18-13. They're both 8-10 in conference play. Just the raw numbers, the wins and the losses, are almost identical between these 2 teams. So we'll see how it plays out tonight. Christian James had his shot blocked from behind. And here we go. Both teams like to play up tempo. The Cowboys with Lindy Waters getting the start tonight. Former high school teammate of Trae Young. Those two have known each other for a long time. Not nearly the same kind of dynamic offensive player as his old teammate Mitchell Solomon has had a big senior year.
Yes, he has, and playing with so much confidence right there. We saw him knock down jumpers and even threes against Kansas. Just, Mike Boynton said he's the MVP of this team. He's done so much on both ends of the floor. Off to a good start here tonight.
Cam McGusty, the sophomore, who was a big scorer last year, has not been the focal point this year with Young as his teammate. He pulls up for three and misses his first shot of the game.
Interesting to see Oklahoma State face guarding Trae Young off the basketball. Going to make life hard on him. Keep the basketball away from him.
Nearly a turnover, and Oklahoma State lucky that it wasn't. Cam Smith having a hard time, or Kendall Smith rather, having a hard time dribbling the ball in the first minute of the game. And Kendall Smith, the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week, so it's not like he didn't finish the year with a flourish. Kendall had a huge game at home in the win against Kansas.
Certainly did. Also against this Oklahoma team. Knocked down a huge triple to send the game to overtime, really win the game for his team, and he's integrated himself so well over the second half of the season for this Cowboy team.
He ended up committing that foul after mishandling the ball. So now the Sooners looking to get on the board, and that's a turnover for Oklahoma. You never know in these big arenas, tournament settings, the first few minutes, there can be some jitters on both sides. Solomon's played in these events before, and even he fumbles the ball out of bounds.
A little bit of both teams feeling each other out right now. Some sloppy play. Have to think as they settle in, we'll see a little bit sharper basketball.
Young pulls up from way outside, comes up short. And you never know. Even that first minute of the face guarding like you were talking about, is he going to feel some pressure to find a way to get some shots off?
I thought that's kind of what that was right there. Hadn't gotten a ton of touches in the first 3 or 4 possessions of this game. Right there kind of forces up a deep three.
Waters misses the three. Rebound for Oklahoma, and Christian James, who overall has had a nice year. Young, the quickness along the baseline. Good pass to McGusty, and he comes up way short. Outlet. Good hustle by James to get back and knock the ball out of bounds. I think the Oklahoma head coach, Lon Kruger, 7th year in Norman, wants to see a little more of that. The hustle plays, the effort on the defensive end.
No question, the effort on the defensive end is good, but offensively, that last possession is great. You get dribble penetration, get a paint touch with Trae Young, finds Cam McGusty, who's wide open. Those are the shots they haven't been able to knock down here in this little slump they've gone on.
And McGusty immediately comes out of the game. Carroll hits a three. Oklahoma State with the first 5 of this one. Kendall Smith. Young found a way to get open, missed another long range three, and maybe the Cowboys have some numbers. Smith pulls up. That one too strong. Young, good effort by Young to get in there against Solomon, and Oklahoma State upset that that's not their ball.
I thought that was off Trae Young, and you just have to think your first 2 shots of the game being 28-footers, you know, as a player, and I would tell this to anybody, whether you're an All-American or you're a bench guy. Early in the game, it's okay to get yourself going with something to the rim, get yourself to the line. You start out deep like that, it can be tough to get going early on.
Solomon called for the foul, trying to defend Jamuni McNeese, the junior, who has played well himself down the stretch, getting more and more minutes for Oklahoma.
Certainly a guy that you want consistency from. You see him against Texas, against Mo Bamba, and he looks like an NBA player. But then you see him in other games, he's got 3 points and 4 rebounds.
Apparently that's where Trae Young is going to get his shot tonight.
The range just so impressive. He shoots it so easily from deep. A guy that you just know you have to be up on at a distance from nobody else in the country.
How about the answer from Cameron McGriff? Speaking of turning it up a notch in the last month or so, the sophomore from Grand Prairie, Texas, has been playing really well. Great pass. And the foul at the rim as Odoms will go to the free throw line.
We see Trae Young. If you're Lindy Waters, you have to have a hand up no matter where he is on the floor. But Cameron McGriff right back at you. Played so well as a starter. And interesting, Mike Boynton was saying, you know, we felt like we had to start him. We lost 3 in a row. We're going against a Kansas team that's not a traditional Kansas squad. Usually you think of Kansas, it's the Morris twins. It's Cole Aldrich and Darrell Arthur. It's 2 bigs. And right now it's 4 guards. Cam McGriff, a guy that can switch pick and roll, can guard guards. Went with him, and it's really paid off for this Cowboys team.
Odoms is not a very good free throw shooter. He made 1 of 2. Smith, I think they tried to ambush him with a double team. He blew right by that, but then airballed the shot. Here's Young in transition. Gave it up to James. His 3. Rebound Solomon.
Oklahoma getting some good looks in transition. Just unable to knock them down. Kind of in the story of their season late.
No kidding. Carroll missed the 3. Up and down we go.
This tempo, right?
I think that will be the theme all game long. These teams want to play loose and free. Those shots are going to have to go down for somebody other than Young. At least some of them are. And that was a pass to nobody. Feeling each other out. That's how we put it in the first few minutes. Cowboys with the 8-4 lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Esurance, auto and home insurance for the modern world. And Volkswagen. Hurry into the Volkswagen Smile It's Spring sales event.
Oklahoma State's a big deal.
Snuck by him, big block.
Rivalry game and all that stuff on the line. We don't shy away from that.
Trae Young with a shot. No! Oklahoma State rushes the floor.
When we play, there's a lot more meaning than just the basketball game.
Well, he's only been around a couple of years. One as an assistant, one as a head coach. Mike Boynton already gets it, how big Bedlam is for folks in that great state of Oklahoma. 236th meeting. Sooners overall hold the lead. In this Big 12 championship, though, it's typically been the Cowboys. Trae Young used a screen, got a wide open look, and knocked it down.
Not just used a screen, but look at the screen that's set, screening your own man, Christian James. Really an intelligent play right there. Free Trae Young, get him a good look.
Move to the bucket and off the window. Pretty nice move by Yankuba Sima.
The transfer from St. John's right there, showing off the footwork and the strength. Beautiful move. Kadeem Latin, one of the best shot blockers, not only in this conference, but in the country, goes right at him.
And Sima, not known for his offense, looked pretty good. Tavares Shine in the game off the bench for the Cowboys. Young picking his way through the defense, tried to hit Latin. That was not a great pass. Here's Shine in transition. Kendall Smith playing at such a high level, as I mentioned already. Not maybe your traditional pass-first point guard. He's a guy who does love to score. He's good at it.
Kind of had some struggles here early on. Have to think maybe adjusting to his first Big 12 tournament. The transfer has had such a good season, but postseason basketball, obviously something different.
Good defense by Latin. Good pass and a blocking foul. Odom's back to the free throw line.
That's the second time we've seen Oklahoma take this Oklahoma State pressure and use the backdoor cut to get right to the rim. Rashard Odoms, a guy they need to get going. He's scored the ball some this season, but last 8 games has not been in double digits. The 3 prior to that had scored 15 plus in each of the 3.
Oklahoma had a well-publicized lineup change. Odom's one of the guys who had started basically the whole year, and Lon Kruger needed to shake things up. They were not playing well. Odom's one of the guys who came out of the starting lineup, went to the bench. Born in Anchorage, Alaska. Probably not a ton of memories, though. He moved away when he was 1. Still, not that many high-level hoops players who come from Anchorage.
Carlos Boozer, I believe, is an Alaska guy.
Trajan Langdon.
Trajan Langdon, too, yeah. The Dukies.
This
is a recruiting pipeline for him.
One of the best non-Duke Alaska players in the history of college hoops. Shine over to McGriff. Shot clock under 10. We haven't said that very often. McGriff challenged, hit the shot anyway.
Playing with so much confidence, and you love to see Oklahoma State run their spread offense, take cutters to the rim, and then that's just Cameron McGriff going and making a play.
He's a stud.
A physical specimen is what he is.
Manek for 3, yes.
That is a huge shot for Oklahoma. His struggles obviously well documented on the road. Not much better in neutral site, shooting 24% from 3 compared to 53% at home. They need him to make shots.
And he's playing some defense, too. Came up with a steal. Here's Young, that quick crossover he wanted to. Instead, he finds Manek, who's wide open. Not that time.
But that's a mature play from Trae Young. You've got a shooter on the wing with a great look, and you've got a good one yourself, but you're giving up a good look to get a great one.
Wild shot from Smith, who has not had a great start to this game. Odom's wide open for the dunk.
And that's what Trae Young does better than any point guard in the country. Looking up the floor, looking to advance the basketball. Great look there for the easy 2.
And I do think that's, just to play analyst for a minute, that's where Lon Kruger was such a good point guard himself, who teaches that position. I think he teaches that stuff as well as anybody.
No, and you see so many point guards want to dribble the air out of it. Trae Young, as good as any we've seen, advancing that ball and stealing points for Oklahoma.
Tie game, McGriff, double team, Latin with the block. Kadeem Lattin's made a positive impact since coming in the game off the bench. The only senior for Oklahoma. Young, you could see that coming, but you could also see that one was too strong right out of his hand.
Right now, Oklahoma State really back on these screen and rolls. You know in drags you have to be up on Trae Young, and right now allowing him to get some pretty good looks.
Carroll for three. Ball tapped out. Who's going to get it? James, good hustle, but it goes out of bounds. Bodies flying everywhere.
We talked about Trae Young looking up. And once that rebound is corralled, Trae immediately, look at his eyes, right up the floor, finds Rashard Odoms. Talk about stealing points. You know if you're playing against this Oklahoma team, you got to get back. Maybe a game where you have 2 or 3 safeties opposed to just one, because you know on a defensive rebound, they are absolutely coming.
On Big 12 first team, if you had said even just a couple of weeks ago that he wasn't going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year, people would have thought you've been crazy, but it was a rocky finish to the regular season for Young and for his team. And Devontae Graham, who had a great year in his own right, wins that award.
Well, just a tough February shooting the basketball, and we came to expect such amazing things from him. He was making shots that were really incredible. A little bit of an off shooting month, which is a part of the game, but to me, he still affected the game in other ways. He's always a playmaker.
Shine for three, short. Rebound, McGriff just flew in there and saved it right to his teammate. Shaq flings it up, draws a foul. I would give Cameron McGriff a lot of the credit for that.
Yeah, Tavares Shine, certainly determined.
Well, Trae Young at Oklahoma, after a very slow start, you give him those kind of looks, he's going to hit a lot of shots tonight. He and the Sooners tied with Oklahoma State. We get started here in the Big 12 tonight. They're already going in the ACC tournament in Brooklyn, the New York Life ACC tournament, and some interesting results from today. Big win for Louisville. NC State goes down. Does that impact there? Are they feeling comfortable? Boston College, a big upset. Louisville, with the incredible loss at home, gets another shot at Virginia coming up tomorrow.
That's a game where you lose, and you would get back in the locker room, and you'd be like, what just happened?
I can't remember a game quite like that. Yeah, you just can't believe.
You see a travel on the baseline. You foul a guy shooting a three. There's a lot that goes into it. It's one of those games where you have to have 10 things go wrong, and all 10 have to really match up perfectly in order for you to lose the game.
Tavares Shine out of the timeout, hits a free throw for Oklahoma State. Cowboys fans are watching all of those results, and not just in the ACC, across the country. Anytime a bubble team loses, a bid-stealing team goes down, you get the possibility maybe our chances increase. So all those games are important for both these teams. I think everybody feels like Oklahoma's comfortably in. If I were a Sooners fan, I just wouldn't be 100% comfortable if they didn't win this game. Nice move by Jamoni McNeese.
That's what McNeese can do. Use his size, use his athleticism, get to the rim. Be an aggressive post presence for this Oklahoma team.
Shine with the pass, missed the layup. Solomon offensive rebound, blocked from behind. Out of bounds off of Oklahoma. Pretty good defense at the rim by Oklahoma, a team that is not known for that necessarily, other than Kadeem Lattin. I think Brady Manek has been active and impressive in the first few minutes of this game. Brandon Averett enters it into Solomon. Solomon trying to make his move. Missed another one. Tipped by McGriff. Stays with it. McGriff, no. Solomon, yes.
Well, that's what Oklahoma State's got to do. They're a very good offensive rebounding team. And right now, Cameron McGriff just imposing his will on this Sooners front court. Mitchell Solomon, as good as anybody in this league at going and getting misses and converting them to points.
Young at the moment is out of this game. Mitchell Solomon. Odoms at the rim scores. Solomon will enter it in for the Cowboys. For his career, more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds.
Well, just a guy that's so active, knows the scouting report. It's interesting to hear Mike Boynton say he's the MVP of our team, because he's not a guy that's going to wow you. He's just a guy that's going to win you college basketball games and be solid.
Lindy Waters has been shooting the ball extremely well. Looked good on that one. His three gives the Cowboys the three-point lead.
Now made 13 of his last 17 looks.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Red hot. Short from Shepard. Averett tried to dribble behind his back and just lost it. Now the jump ball arrow favoring Oklahoma State. So Trae Young will check in the game. Chris Button was over there at the huddle with the Sooners during that last timeout. What'd you see, Chris?
Dave, one of the things I think I've noticed in Trae's involvement is how much he talks during huddles. During that last timeout, he was asking Lon Kruger questions. He was encouraging his teammates. I had a couple of their games earlier in January, and he would really just soak it all in. Did not talk very much during timeout. So you've seen him grow throughout the year in that fact.
Interesting observation. And you would expect that a guy who's played as many minutes, as many big games, had the spotlight so brightly shining on him. He told us today when we chatted with him during their practice that when the shots weren't going down, when the losses were piling up, he sort of felt like everything was falling on him. The whole world was closing in on him. He felt a lot of pressure. It was obvious. Averett trying to muscle his way to the basket, and Jamuni McNeese literally just about caught that ball out of midair, and somehow Oklahoma didn't come away with it.
Those are the types of plays he makes that just make you want more. I mean, what an athlete. And Oklahoma State right now is just out of sorts. I mean, they're throwing the basketball away. Not a sharp first 10 minutes of the game for the Cowboys by any means.
Now that's the second time Carroll has just thrown it into the backcourt. 5 turnovers for the Cowboys. Their advantage on the glass is what have them with a 3-point lead. They are dominating on the boards. That one wildly out of bounds. Oklahoma turns it over.
Mike Boynton talked about how he wanted to get length and size on Trae Young. Tavares Shine, a guy that's really done a good job this season. In their 2 matchups, we've seen a lot of him guarding Trae Young, and I'd expect for the remainder of the game to see a lot of Tavares Shine on Trae.
Kendall Smith back in for Oklahoma State. Slow start for him in this first round game of the Big 12 championship from Kansas City. The 8 seed and the 9 seed. Rivals, Bedlam Part 3. Mitchell Solomon is not much of an outside shooter. Will take it from time to time. Waters with the tap to Shine. Another offensive rebound for the Cowboys. Carroll, 3. Good.
You give this team multiple opportunities to score the ball, and they've got guards that can really fill it up. Jeffrey Carroll, really one of the top 10 scorers in this conference. You get him an open look, and it's funny, the basketball gods, you get offensive rebounds, they have a tendency to really repay you. And right now, Oklahoma State making hay with second chance opportunities.
Young found one little opening and hits a 3.
You got to be up on him. I mean, when he comes off that screen, you have to be up as a secondary defender. Right now, he's coming off. He's got way too much daylight.
That's going to drive Mike Boynton crazy. Carroll picked up his dribble. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. 8 offensive rebounds for Oklahoma State. Sooners have 0. Smith, that is a tough, long, contested 2.
Now, if you're Lon Kruger, you look at Brady Manek and you say, hey, you congratulate that guy. Let's go down the other end of the floor. Because that's great defense, hand in the face, just better offense.
That's the 3rd time in this game I've thought Brady Manek played really well defensively on that possession. Foul against Oklahoma State. And not known for his defense, the freshman, in-state kid, just like Trae Young. And it was such a great start to his college. And you see the high five. I think that's exactly what Lon Kruger just did. You mentioned it. Hey, congratulate him. That's what his head coach did.
Right now, Trae Young is way too comfortable coming off a pick and roll. And finally, they kind of tried to do too much right there. But they're letting him get the ball to the roller. They're not pressuring him. You have to feel fortunate he's missed the shots that he has.
The passing in this game so far
left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, below average to this point. Smith gets the handoff. Here's Waters. Has a couple of fouls, has made some threes though. Shot clock winding down. Shine doesn't realize it. Does Solomon? I think he did. Flung it up there, came up short.
Oklahoma not known as a defensive ball club, but right there, they've strung together some nice possessions. Not much doing for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. There's an offensive rebound for the Sooners. The putback goes in and out. And the outlet, 2-on-1. Smith gives it up. Shine came up short, but there is Smith, who almost missed it. Wow.
Some sloppy basketball being played here in game 1 at the Sprint Center. Have to think, though, players, they always tend to settle in. Oklahoma State's got themselves up 7. Haven't played that well thus far.
McNeese flung it up there and got the soft touch. He can elevate, man.
Super long, super athletic. You have to think if he can figure it out, he's got a chance to play the game for some cash.
Yeah, very late to the game. Free spirit. Waters pull up. Good.
Lindsey Waters just shooting the ball with so much confidence. And he said, look, I kind of rearranged my class schedule. I've been able to get in the gym and get some more shots up. Funny how that works, right?
Young underneath the basket. Had his shot partially blocked. Bad outlet from Waters, though. Waters right on top of his old high school teammate. Good bounce pass. Doolittle was fouled. Christian Doolittle will be shooting free throws when we come back. A lot on the line on both sides. Oklahoma State trying to play their way in. 28-21, they lead.
You know that feeling that you only get this time of year?
And South Carolina makes history.
Welcome back.
A lot of dancing this time of year. How about the SEC tournament? Big news today. They're not too far from here, actually, in St. Louis. They will get started. In fact, they have started now in the first round. Missouri, the 5 seed, tomorrow afternoon. And the big news, Michael Porter is going to play, his coach, Fonzo Martin, said today. So that spices up, I think, the SEC tournament a little bit. There'll be a lot of curiosity about how he looks. Hasn't played since the first minutes of the season. Has been out mostly the whole year. A guy who is on that kind of level, considered a top overall pick kind of prospect coming into the year.
Really cool. Yeah, no doubt. Really cool to see Michael Porter get to have a chance to come back and play in the NCAA tournament. I played for Fonzo Martin my freshman year. He was an assistant coach at Purdue. I can only imagine the look on his face when he got the news it was going to be a full go. He had to be pretty hyped.
A guy, I think Fonzo Martin's had a great year.
No, he has. I mean, he's just a good coach. He's a great person, very good recruiter from the area. Going to have a lot of success for that Missouri program.
Thomas Dzagwa in for the first time. Oklahoma State's offense trying to get going. Shot clock under 5. Smith, he just knew that was coming. He was going all the way, and he lost it out of bounds. Kendall Smith looks totally out of sorts to me.
Just turnovers, sloppy play right now. Not a lot of offensive flow to this game.
He destroyed Kansas in the big win at home against the Jayhawks that completed that season sweep. Odoms took the handoff from Latin. Doolittle found an open shooter. James in and out. Had a great look. Rebound. Who's going to get it? A dog pile. Arrow favors the Sooners.
Just relax. We're the better team. We don't have to do anything special. Just play harder than they do for 40 minutes. That's all we got to do. Take care of the basketball. All right, that turnover lane, just set the foul on Mitch. Take care of the ball. Rebound. We don't have to be in a rush.
Didn't exactly set up that soundbite beautifully. That is the head coach of the Cowboys. I think the message was pretty simple, right?
Don't beat ourselves. I mean, we've seen them do that all game thus far, just not giving themselves opportunities at the rim, turnovers, a lot of sloppy passes. And fortunately for Oklahoma State, Oklahoma has not been able to take advantage.
I can't tell you how many good things we have heard about this guy, Mike Boynton, who's 36 years old? A total unknown quantity in the interview process. A guy that their own fan, he was an assistant for 1 year under Brad Underwood. Nobody knew anything about this guy. He played at South Carolina, youngest head coach in the Big 12. It's his first year. He tried to get the Stephen F. Austin job when Underwood left for Stillwater, and they wouldn't hire him. So then 1 year later, he gets a Big 12 head coaching job because Mike Holder, the athletic director, a former head coach, not in basketball, but a head coach himself, said, I just knew this guy was a head coach in the making.
Yeah, you got to credit Mike Holder for just having a feel. I mean, there is something about him. He's got that it factor, and one of the bright young minds here in college basketball. It's a guy that you look from afar and you think, man, it would be cool to play for. It seems like he's so in tune with his players.
Yeah, I'm with you. They were picked to finish last in the Big 12. They swept Kansas. They won at West Virginia. They had a really good year. That's a whistle and a foul. Up 6 here, 4:21 to go, first half. Oklahoma, a team that still, even though the numbers have been coming down, has the highest scoring offense in the country, has not looked like that in this first half. Lon Kruger's offense has been ragged. And part of that, Trae Young, who has had some spectacular moments, 3 of 8 from the field. 9 points for Trae. Free throw good from Odoms. Lefty misses the second. That's kind of been the story. They are 3 of 8 at the free throw line.
Missed opportunities, not only at the free throw line, but also in the half court. Got some good looks, and you have to think they're running pretty good offense. Some of those are going to fall.
Carroll chucks one up, and it goes for 3. Jeffrey Carroll, the senior from Texas, has not shot the ball as well in his senior year as he did as a junior. Young, what a move, and he spins it in.
Oh, what a finish by Trae Young. You got Sema coming over. A little English on that basketball. Beautiful take.
And then a wild attempt by McGriff. Young, who never got fully back, finds the ball in his hands again. I don't know if he dribbled that off his foot or off the defender's foot. He finds a way to get it to his teammate Doolittle. Odoms pull up. He's not a great outside shooter. Good hustle by Doolittle, but he's out of bounds.
Right now, we've got a little bit of a battle between Trae Young and Jeffrey Carroll. And Jeffrey Carroll right here, you're going to give him that kind of space. He can certainly knock it down. But on the other end of the floor, Trae Young says, hey, I can do a little something like that too.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Degree Advanced Protection, the official deodorant of March Madness.
I'm the guys, apparently. Not much flow, but the biggest lead for the Cowboys after that 3 rattles down for Thomas Dzagwa. A guy who doesn't play a lot of minutes, but is not shy when he gets in. Wild effort by Trae Young. Smith, nice dribble move all the way to lay it in.
Beautiful move. Nobody ever stopped the basketball. And if you're Kendall Smith, you take that thing right to the 10 until somebody does. He goes to his right hand. It's usually he's getting to that basket. Left hand, he'll get to his pull-up, but nice job there in transition. Beautiful take. Runs it right down Oklahoma's throat.
That looks more like the Kendall Smith who played so well against the Jayhawks and has finished the season so well for Oklahoma State. Tough dribble move and a shot way off the mark. Cowboys would like to push, and they will. Smith gets organized.
Nice job. Push the basketball. Nothing's there. Let's regroup here. Run a set.
Using a screen. Wide open. Smith. No good. That's going to be a foul, I think, against Oklahoma. This was the move I was talking about.
Kendall Smith, as good as anybody in transition. Nice little ball fake there. Defense never stops him. That's good basketball. And right now, Oklahoma State's offense is really operating at an efficient level. They're moving that thing, getting good looks. And if you're Oklahoma, you kind of find yourself in uh-oh time right now. You got to get something going here on the defensive end of the floor, get some stops.
Like I said, he is not shy. Missed that 3. But again, the ball caroms to the Cowboys. Smith for 3.
You have to think second chance points have been the story. I mean, Oklahoma getting stops, but you don't corral that ball. And Oklahoma State getting multiple attempts per time.
How about 4th chance points? Those have been pretty big too.
Well, that is a problem. Lon Kruger right now is going to have to address that. You got to get stopped. You got to corral the basketball. And if you let Kendall Smith get this kind of space, he's going to make you pay.
Well, know, Robbie said it before we went to that quick break. Oklahoma State, these last few minutes, is just dominating the Sooners. Trae Young's got 11. His teammates have combined for 14. Shooting numbers not great on either side, but the rebound margin is astounding. Oklahoma State's out-rebounding Oklahoma by 17. We're still in the first half.
You know, coming into this game, that's what Oklahoma State wants to do. They've got athletes, and Cameron McGriff has shown off his athleticism and physique. Really been a difference maker on the glass.
Manek for 3. Oklahoma really needed that. He's playing well.
I'm a little surprised Oklahoma State went zone there. You know, you're getting stops. I know you want to mix it up. But good zone offense there by Oklahoma. McNeese gets a touch in the post, and you find your shooter in the corner. Good to see Brady Manek make shots. It's been a tough go for him the last month and a half. And looking ahead, you have to think he's a building block for this program. I mean, just a guy that can score. He's athletic. A lot to like about his game.
Well, you look at that last shot and you think, well, he's going to make so many of those in his career. That was just beautiful.
Got a quick release. Really nice form. Just a good college basketball player. Probably has hit a little bit of a freshman wall. And most guys do. You see it all the time. Just hasn't been the same the last month.
McGriff, crossover, too strong, rebound Manek.
He's really gone to that mid-range game, kind of showing off the handle there. But Oklahoma's coming. You better get back.
That's an offensive foul. Cam McGusty, who has not played big minutes in this first half, just committed his second personal foul.
Oklahoma plays one of the fastest paces in all of college basketball. We said it earlier. You probably have more than one safety, and right there Oklahoma State does a nice job getting back, setting themselves, and drawing the charge.
All right, so Oklahoma State calls a timeout. Before we talk a little strategy, let's take a quick glance. McGusty obviously unhappy with the way this game's going for him. At the brackets, 2 games tonight, first round action here in the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State right now, Texas, Iowa State, a game that is all downside for the Longhorns. And Texas comes up with a huge win against West Virginia over the weekend. They cannot lose that game to the 10 seed Iowa State, and that sets up the quarterfinals tomorrow.
Well, I think looking at that bracket, every one of these games has huge implications, and there's to me, no favorite. You probably would have went with Kansas, even though they're coming off the loss to Oklahoma State, but with no Azubuike, that changes the game. Texas Tech has played well here, but Keenan Evans, you know, that's kind of a question mark. How's his toe? West Virginia goes to Texas and loses. You mentioned that. So there's a lot of good basketball with a lot of good teams here that's going to be played in Kansas City, and really no clear-cut favorite to me.
So after the timeout, did they talk going 2 for 1 here? A lot of college teams don't do it.
I wish they would.
Me too.
I mean, it's just
they're doing it. Smith in and out. Ball tapped around. Oklahoma State, they're playing harder right now.
Yes, they are. They are competing on the glass. That ball goes up. They've got 4 guys coming to the offensive board. And you mentioned 2 for 1. Maybe not a good enough 2 for 1 because you got 2.6 seconds in between the shot clock and the game clock.
I love the idea, but when you dribble around for 10 seconds and then shoot the shot, it defeats some of the purpose of that.
But from a mathematical standpoint, I'm really baffled by why college basketball doesn't go to it.
You and I are going to work on that.
We'll petition for it.
11-point margin. It would be huge for Trae Young in Oklahoma just to get something headed into the locker room.
Looks like Trae Young just going to play one-on-one here. No ball screen. Him versus Kendall Smith.
Can he get in the lane? Yes. Can he finish? No. Came up short. 3 seconds. Smith from half court. Heaves one up. Almost. Not quite. That's one of the few things that went wrong for Oklahoma State at the end of the half because the Cowboys are really impressive.
Yes, they are. And you look at what they've been able to do on the offensive glass. It's a dominant effort in this first half for the Cowboys. If you're Oklahoma, you got to box out.
Yeah, that has been a big story. Chris Button with the head coach of Oklahoma State, Mike Boynton.
Coach, you told your team a little bit ago to take a deep breath and relax. What did you see from your guys early?
I thought we played tight for whatever reason. I don't know, you get to the tournament, crazy things happen, but we feel like if we play our style of basketball, we can have a lot of success.
Last time against this Oklahoma team, they came back from a double-digit deficit. How do you prevent that this second half?
Well, we talked to our team about it for the last 2 days. We got killed on the offensive glass in the second half. I think they had 20 offensive rebounds. So better believe that I'm going to be talking about rebounding here at this halftime.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to both of them. We heard him say in a huddle, we're the better team. Hard to argue.
No, it's hard to argue that. Right now, they are playing at an extremely high level.
39-28, that's the halftime score. Stay tuned. Out a halftime report right after this. game here in Kansas City. Our halftime score, the 8 seed Oklahoma State 39, Oklahoma the 9 seed 28. Of course, this is all a part of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. Dave Fleming, Robbie Hummel back with you here. Robbie, I thought the story of the first half, the effort on the glass from the Cowboys.
No, it certainly was, and they just made a concerted effort to get to the glass, and they dominated Oklahoma. They're out rebounding them by 16, 11-2 on the offensive glass, and a lot of times it's just effort. You see Oklahoma State's guy, there's 3 Oklahoma guys standing around. Mitchell Solomon gets the third chance point there. Then here, Lindy Waters, nice tip out. And really, Oklahoma, if you're not going to rebound, you got to get to the shooters. Jeffrey Carroll wide open, going to make you pay, and they did it all of the first half. Oklahoma probably fortunate to just be down 11 points.
So 39-28 is the score. Trae Young, 11 points, had some spectacular moments. Great finish at the rim, a couple long-range threes, but 2 assists, 3 turnovers. Christian James put up a goose egg. His jersey number, 0 points for him. Chris Button, our broadcast partner here in the Big 12 tournament, talked with the Oklahoma head coach Lon Kruger. Chris, what did Lon have to say?
Well, really emphasizing the rebound during his team during halftime, and he boils it down to the same thing Robbie said. It's effort, execution. He needs a little bit more hustle and aggressive play out of his guys. He also wants to see Christian James getting going a little bit more.
All right, thank you. Anyway, I didn't know he had said that, but it certainly stood out to me on the stat sheet. That's why I pointed it out. Christian James has really been a good player for Oklahoma, and he gave them nothing. Did not make a shot in the first half. Along the baseline, Young open 3, in and out, and Carroll grabs a defensive rebound. That's a foul against Oklahoma. The whistles have been quick, I think, in a lot of moments in this game. There's a little contact there, but the foul called. Well, I kind of agree with what you just said. It feels like this could be an even bigger deficit for the Sooners.
No, I think if you're Oklahoma and you're Lon Kruger, you have to feel fortunate you're still in this game. Oklahoma State, quite frankly, just playing harder than Oklahoma. And you think in a rivalry game with so much on the line, that's kind of surprising to actually say.
And that's the guy.
Rebound by Cameron McGriff.
I mean, he's the guy who's played harder than anybody. He's getting up a little slowly. He hit the ground hard. Number advantage, and McGusty misses the 3.
Well, you don't like the shot. I mean, he's contested. I get that you play with pace, but not a good look for Oklahoma. If you're open, go ahead. By all means, that's what you guys do. But if you're not open, especially for Cam McGusty, probably not a very good shot.
I know Waters posting up on Young, who was arguing. I think he had an argument that he was being hooked by Lindy Waters. I didn't know that Lindy Waters had a post-up game.
I don't think he normally does.
that was interesting. Kind of a cool look. Young,
good play.
Really good play, anticipated and helped McNeese steal that ball away.
Oklahoma State kind of allowing Oklahoma to just hang around. And with a guy like Trae Young, that's so dangerous to do. Because you know, especially with the pace of this game, all it takes is a couple threes to go down and they're right back in it.
10 turnovers for the Cowboys, and what a finish. Christian Doolittle.
Well, hello, Christian Doolittle. Welcome to the game.
Welcome to the Big 12 Championship, Christian. The sophomore whose numbers are down. He had a pretty big year as a freshman last year.
Just never has been able to get going with suspensions. And you think maybe there was something that could get him going, and he just never had it.
Tough pass, good catch. Carroll gets it back. Passed up the 3. McGriff is not going to pass it up. And he'll make the 3. They should count the basket. They will. And they're calling a foul away from the ball, I think, against Oklahoma. So the basket is good. And is that McNeese who committed the personal? Yeah, Jamoni McNeese fighting down low with Mitchell Solomon.
It looked like maybe that basketball was a little too unselfish. You saw Jeffrey Carroll and Kendall Smith both pass up good looks.
And Carroll's had some points, 3 for 6 from the floor. Carroll also has 9 rebounds in this game. Waters tripped, kept his dribble going. It's pretty nifty. McGriff. Shot clock starting to wind down. Smith, Solomon, extra pass, and McGriff. What a dunk.
That basketball is moving. And Cameron McGriff with the exclamation point. All things going right now for Oklahoma State.
He is a big-time physical presence. James, good bounce pass. McNeese had it blocked by Solomon. Got it back and scores.
Money McNeese stays with the play. Mitchell Solomon, as good as anybody we have in the Big 12 at recovering from dribble penetration and going to contest shots.
He set a good screen there. McGriff feeling it. Feeling it.
I mean, this dude has played so hard tonight. And now he's knocking threes down. He's playing at a super high level for Mike Boynton's team.
13 points for the sophomore. Huge upside, I think, for Cameron McGriff.
This is what you love about him right here, too. You're going to switch off. He can move his feet. Pretty good defense, but Trae Young, that's just really good offense.
He had a hard time getting by the big guy. But a nifty move by Young. 13-point lead for the Cowboys. I mean, Cameron McGriff, the story's been told, but he was the guy. What a horrible pass that was. I get you're trying to
post Trae Young, but you're right. There is nothing there.
It was 1-on-3. Now a foul. That's going against Oklahoma, man.
I didn't necessarily think that Smith was set there. Strange two possessions there.
McGusty commits the foul. It's been a tough night for him. Solomon comes out. Sema back in. I was talking about Cameron McGriff. Before last year, the Navy SEALs, you know, they do this with sports teams. Sometimes they come in and do all the training stuff. After it was all over, they went to the Oklahoma State folks and said,
"Can we have him?"
Said, "You have a guy who is going to be your leader."
Oh, yeah.
You may not know it now.
Maybe they were recruiting him to the Navy SEALs.
I mean, and I think they would have liked to, but they emphatically made the point, this is your alpha guy. This is your stud.
Today, he's played like an alpha. He has left it all on the floor here.
Pretty high praise from the SEALs. McNeese definitely traveled. Can a Navy SEAL do this, though?
I don't know if many Navy SEALs are capable of this, but you give Cameron McGriff a launch pad like this, and he's going to throw it down, but it's not just inside, it's also from the perimeter.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Pedigree. Feed the good.
Game 1 in Kansas City, the Big 12 championship underway. Now look at Cameron McGriff. We've been pumping him up way up above the rim. Now watch the end of this play. He's so high above the rim, he whacks his wrist on the rim itself, and he cut it open.
That's when you know you've got a great dunk. You are that high that you can cut the inside of your wrist on the rim. That did not happen to me often, that is for sure.
Not a fingertip, not a fingernail, not a thumb. That's a forearm.
That's awesome.
He has scored all the points for Oklahoma State in this second half. Cowboys with the 47-34 lead. Good ball movement. McGriff, he is so confident right now.
No, he certainly is, but that's great offense by Oklahoma State. That thing is moving. They run pick and roll. Sema does a nice job finding the guy in the corner. Swing, swing, swing. And, you know, it's funny when you're hot, the ball just finds you. And right now, Cameron McGriff, that basketball is finding him in places where he can score the ball.
He, not Trae Young, and this is not piling on, but he's been the best player on the floor tonight.
There is no question. I mean, just his effort. I mean, his effort has stood out.
Well, they called a foul from behind against Oklahoma State. Sema called for the personal.
We just talked about that ball movement. Got to credit Yankuma Sema right there. Swinging the basketball. Cameron McGriff, kind of a contested look, but hey, when you're feeling it right now, that rim is about as wide as the ocean.
What a nifty bounce pass, and then Doolittle missed it.
That is a high-level look right there from Trae Young. And that's one that Christian Doolittle, you got to make that.
Got to make those. And I know Young gets the credit, he gets the blame. At some point, his teammates have to make some shots, help him out. Sema, that was not the shot that Oklahoma State was looking for. Now McGriff still almost saved it inbounds. He goes flying into the table, but I guess his foot stepped on the end line.
Just playing so hard. I mean, you got to be impressed with the guy. I'm so impressed with the guy that plays that hard. And really cool to see a guy lay it on the line.
He's got 16, all 11 this half. He's got 9, officially 8 rebounds. He's playing good defense like that.
Well, he moves his feet. Yeah. He does not let go. We saw him guard Trae Young earlier. Didn't let him get by.
Shine fell down and Young took advantage.
All it takes, man. All it takes is just a little slip up. Trae Young's got that kind of range and ability. For him, all it takes is one. He can get his head up in a hurry. Just a 13-point game. It feels more. And we've talked about this in breaks. It feels more of like a 18 to 20-point game. Oklahoma's still kind of hanging around.
And when you got Young on your side, 13 points could disappear.
Especially with this pace. It's not like these teams are holding the ball till 5 on the shot clock.
That's a carry from Brandon Averette.
We see Tavares Shine kind of get shook there, fall down. Trae Young's going to make you pay.
I mean, Averette even recognized it and recovered, at least got a hand there, but that just doesn't matter. Shine on Young. Step back three. Got another one.
Just kind of have a feeling right now.
Here it comes.
This is kind of an avalanche that's coming at us.
Here he comes. He's got 19 now. Oklahoma State with no Smith, with no Waters on the floor. Been McGriff or nobody. Sema, who is just not much of an offensive threat. Shine heaves one up. No. Rebound off of the Cowboys. And I think Doug Sermons is going to help out here. I think they're going to change this call.
That was a great recovery by Christian James. Walled up. Didn't allow Tavares Shine to get anything going. We're going to see Trae Young. A little bit of Michael Jordan, Brian Russell action there. A little push off, but I like it.
And then between the legs with the step back dribble.
It's a beautiful move.
10-point advantage, but the momentum of this game changing a little bit here in the last couple minutes.
The quality of Oklahoma State's looks right now, it's certainly diminished. They're not getting the same kind of shots that we'd seen even to start this half. Oklahoma's defense raising their level, and here they come offensively.
And here comes Young. Right through the defense. How long can you keep those two guys on the bench? Doolittle going to attack again. No. McNeese follow. Also no. Wow, two great looks. Yeah, I thought so too. He was way above the rim. Averette a little loose with the handle.
Seen him cough it up a couple times today. And they're really trying to post Trae Young.
Too much. They're being too stubborn about it.
They're so adamant about throwing it in there. Oklahoma doing a nice job recognizing what they're trying to do, really sagging in that paint. This is the time where you can get guys for open threes.
McGriff will come out, probably just briefly. Waters back in. Oklahoma's going to make some wholesale substitutions, and we're going to see how many times in a row we can ring the horn here in the arena. Now, as long as number 11 is on the floor for the Sooners, they've got a shot. As much as they have been outplayed in this game, just a 10-point lead for the Cowboys. Carroll's been quiet in the second half, almost 8 minutes in. He's posting up on Young. They are really helping, and Young forced a very tough shot.
But if you're going to post Trae Young, that's not the kind of shot you're looking for. You want that basketball going right to the rim.
Here we go again. In and out. That one looked good. Averette in transition all the way. Nobody stopped him.
Again, no one stops the basketball, and that's rule number 1 in transition defense. You got to stop the man with the ball. Oklahoma not recognizing that right now, and that's a basket that you just feel like it's kind of a backbreaker. You really got something going for you, and I guess the answer right there. What do I know?
And maybe Cam McGusty can use that to get himself going. That's his first basket of the game. He has looked so frustrated. Bad body language, or almost since the tip. Just hasn't been in rhythm at all. Finally, a shot goes down.
Surprising, coming off a game that he played well.
Really well.
Iowa State, 18 points. Hasn't been involved today.
Tough, contested 2, short. The looks have not been there for Oklahoma State.
Done a nice job here defensively, forcing Oklahoma State into tough contested shots.
Even though the last one didn't go, Young's got the feel right now. Great pass, Manek wide open, 3.
Trae Young right now doing what Trae Young does best. He's making shots, he's finding his teammates, good offense for Oklahoma. And Trae Young claps his hands. They've got a little bit of life here.
For sure. Forcing an Oklahoma State timeout. That's a 12-2 run Not all the points from Young, although he's had a part in a lot of it, and you like the way that Brady Manek's playing.
Well, I love the way Manek's playing. Trae Young finding his guy. Has not shot the ball great on the road, but today, so far, so good.
Robinson to the corner. Baines shots blocked, but a foul called. 2.5 seconds to go. There's the home run ball. Lucas with the catch, taps it to Graham. He's got a look.
Yep.
Just off the mark. TCU upsets Kansas. Well, and it was a huge win for TCU last year. Our Big 12 flashback brought to you by Phillips 66. This is getting a little eerie, Robbie, in that Kansas losing some of these key guys, Embiid, Alexander, Diallo, Jackson, and this year Azubuike. He's going to miss this tournament with a knee sprain from practice the other day. That's a big story here in Kansas City. Oklahoma trying to come from behind. They're down 52-46. Yeah, we all have our issues here in Kansas City. Yeah, it could be a little sticky, right? A Texas Tech fan hoping the Red Raiders can make a run. Sure feels like they can here in Kansas City, the Big 12 championship. This is the first game of the weekend out of the timeout. Carroll, great look. I think he knew he missed it. And the offense has dried up for the Cowboys. Oklahoma down by as many as 16 in this half. Down 6 at the moment, can cut into that. Young was fouled. I'm not sure he wanted that whistle. He was about to get a wide open look.
About to drain another 3 right there. Step back, so potent. Oklahoma, the tides have turned.
Yeah.
I mean, we felt for really 25 minutes, this is an Oklahoma State dominated game.
Now that one wasn't as good of a shot for Trae Young. Airballed it, has a little grimace on his face as he goes back on defense. For more on number 11, let's welcome in Chris.
Dave, there's been a few of those shots over the last couple games that Trae wishes he could have back. Over the last 8 games, shooting just 36%. I asked him earlier today, is he still enjoying the game as much as he had before? And he was pretty honest, saying, you know, it's not as fun as it used to be. There was a time where I felt the entire world was watching me. I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. And then he started to become a little bit more of an introvert. And he said, I've come out of that, and I feel like I'm on the other side now.
Well, one bad shot after another for Oklahoma State. Carroll has been non-existent in the second half. Latin with the pass from Young in the finish. This is a 4-point game. So the run continues. We're only halfway through this second half. 14-2 Oklahoma run. Playing much better on this end of the floor. I think that, as much as Young's playmaking, has keyed it.
They've upped their level defensively. Oklahoma State helping them out, though. Really not run that sprint offense. Haven't been able to get anything out of it, though.
Where'd that ball movement go? No, Solomon fighting for the offensive rebound. The Sooners been much better on the defensive glass. Good outlet. McGusty pulls up and misses. Too strong.
They got numbers here.
This should be a look for the Cowboys. Instead, Trae Young steals the ball away. Now 3-on-1 for the Sooners. The lob, and I don't know about that one.
Need points.
Wild back and forth. Carroll with the left hand.
That is just one of those plays where we're going to look back probably when this game ends in just under 9 minutes and think, man, what a momentum shift. Both teams had opportunities in transition. Not great decision making right there.
The Sooners are going to call a timeout. I mean, Brady Manek is a really good player. I'm not sure he's the guy you target for a transition
he can catch a lob, but yeah, in that opportunity, you need 2 points.
Well, it was so much better here for the Sooners the last few minutes.
It really is, and with Oklahoma, they're going to run so much pick and roll. You have to shut the water off on the roller. Kadeem Latin cannot get that type of look. And then in transition, you just have to make this play. It's got to be 2 points. And to throw a lob, Mitchell Solomon kind of sitting on it. It looked like Mitchell Solomon was waiting for that lob. And you see Trae's dad take that thing to the basket. Finish for yourself.
And we should give Solomon for credit on a really nice defensive play.
Great read. And he's just such a smart defender. He just has such a good feel for blocking shots. And right there, kind of reads Trae's eyes, jumps the lob.
Can the Cowboys hang on? Can the Sooners complete the comeback? And it's not just been the pure scoring for Young. He's been doing a lot of things well in this run, which was at 14-2 in favor of Oklahoma until that transition bucket for Jeffrey Carroll. Out of the timeout. James still been so quiet today. In a lot of ways, he's been their second best player this year. Auguste, tough challenge shot, good defense, loose ball. Oklahoma State comes away with it, and a little dribble move. Yeah, I thought that could have been a carry by Smith. Instead, it's a layup.
Showing off the speed, but I think he got away with one there.
Young sold that one. Smith isn't happy. That's his fourth.
All right, you be the judge there by Cam Auguste, starting the break. To me, that's a carry. I mean, I guess it's hard to see. Oh, his hand stays on top of the basketball.
Yeah. Just a very high dribble.
It looks weird, though. Yeah. A lot of officials, when they see you do something that looks out of the ordinary, it's a good job there.
Timeout because they denied the inbound. It's still not a good sequence for the Cowboys. Kendall Smith picked up his fourth foul. They've struggled in the second half with him on the bench. He's there for now. 56-48. Cowboys lead. You have to be perfect around this group. Trae Young fouled. Solomon fouled him shooting at three. And Young is going to go to the free throw line. Mitchell Solomon commits his third personal. So foul trouble starting to crop up for the Cowboys, who lead 56-48. Young, an excellent free throw shooter, as you would expect, and he gets 3 of them here. I like the way he's played in the second half.
Really been assertive, and not just for himself. He's found guys, made the right play every time. And that's kind of something when we saw him struggle, that's kind of what he struggled with. And he talked about the weight of the world on his shoulders. Think about this. You're on SportsCenter for scoring in the 40s. And if you don't, all of a sudden you're a disappointment. So I get where he would say, hey, I felt like there was so much pressure. It was really making it hard for me to play. Absolutely. But for him, you just need to go out there, play basketball. If you're open or have a matchup you like, take it. If you think you can find one of your guys, do that too. And he's done a great job this half of doing just that.
Double team came. Waters kept the dribble going, so he got out of it. And now the shot clock's starting to wind down.
Look at where they're operating their offense from.
Averett pulls up another long 2 for him. Solomon, good tap, and McGriff just back in the game with the offensive rebound. They missed him when he was on the bench.
He's been so active, Dave, just really making plays on the glass. And Oklahoma State gets another second chance opportunity on this possession.
Huge 7 minutes on both sides, but particularly for Oklahoma State. Averett cut off. Waters for 3. No, too strong. Rebound Oklahoma. Sooners with the ball down just 5. That's a big few minutes for Oklahoma. Young crossover 3. Too strong. And Waters comes away with the dribble intact.
Lindy Waters is lucky. I don't know how that basketball wasn't stolen.
Kendall Smith on the bench with 4 fouls. And there is a drop-off when he's not in the game. Mitchell Solomon made so many big plays this year for the Cowboys in a lot of little ways. Shot clock at 5. Averett, that was a whistle as he was driving into the lane. No, not a shooting foul.
Oklahoma, they've switched all guard-to-guard screens off the ball, and they have really taken Oklahoma State out of what they wanted to do. Nice little split action there in the corner. 2 guards screening for one another, and it's an easy point and switch. And you mentioned it, without Kendall Smith on the floor, really been difficult for this team in his absence to get anything going. You see those 2 guys, Kendall Smith, Jeffrey Carroll, 2 guys that can really score the ball for this Cowboy team. And right now, you got to think it's going to be Cameron McGriff. He's made plays all game.
In the bonus, Oklahoma State makes the front end of the 1-1. That feels big as they search for points with those two guys on the bench. Only the third free throw attempt for the Cowboys in this game. Averett made them both. 7-point lead. Odoms backing his way in, and the lefty scores.
Well, that's one of those plays where if you're a coach and you say, if Rashard Odoms gets to his left hand, you can come sit next to me, because you know he wants to go that way. Obviously, he's left-handed. Such a left-hand dominant player. It's funny with those lefties, though. They're just so effective at getting to that left hand.
I think Solomon kept the pivot foot down. Oklahoma fans didn't think so. Good defense by Jamuni McNeese, though. That little hesitation move. Then his shot was blocked. Can he save it in bounds? Yes, but to Oklahoma. Young and the Sooners. Lob. Odoms couldn't finish.
That's the right play. You got to come up with points. He's got to. Rashard Odoms has to be able to finish that. It's a good lob. You don't have to dunk it. Just go up there, lay it in. That's twice now we've seen them in transition miss out on points when they had numbers.
Yeah, where you're thinking that's a bucket. That's gonna be two.
That is really frustrating, I'm sure, for Lon Kruger. Especially you battled back. You really had a nice second half, but just missed opportunities here.
Remember, Oklahoma was down 16 at one point in this second half. Still a long way to go. Manick, the freshman, back in. He's played well. McGusty has been in foul trouble the whole way through. He's got 4 now, and he goes to the bench. Averett, who was just at the free throw line, back there now. Front end again. Missed it. Oklahoma got away with one. Now a whistle and a foul against who? Averett. Nobody on the court even knew. Huh? Even the Oklahoma players didn't know. Where was the foul? Oh, it's against them. Here's Young on the attack. Tried that step back move. Shine right on top of him.
Nice job by Averett there, showing bodies. You're guarding Odoms. You can show another set of eyes at Trae Young. Make him feel as congested as possible.
Manick, the quick release. No. Solomon rebound. Maybe Oklahoma State can get something in transition. They have gone pretty passive here on offense. Averett, wild. They blow the whistle, though. I don't know about that one.
Oklahoma State really stealing minutes right now.
Yeah.
You look at who's on the bench and who's just been good for them in this game. And it's Jeffrey Carroll and it's Kendall Smith. Right now, this is the third time we've seen Brandon Averett get to the line. I don't think has he attempted a shot? It's been all off the bounce. Now he's been going to the rim, but they need him to make these. These are free points at a time when you've got your 2 best players parked over there with foul trouble.
Well, the sophomore who originally signed with Brad Underwood and Mike Boynton as an assistant at Stephen F. Austin. And they thought he could play at this level. Maybe not as a starting type player, but he's been a reliable backup. And here we go.
He can really push the pace. I mean, he is a very good athlete, has great speed. Hasn't shot the ball as well here over the last 4 games, shooting 16% from the field.
They made both free throws there. Carroll back in. Smith is still on the bench for Oklahoma State. Here's Young down the lane. Floater came up short. McNeese. That's where Odoms, not being a shooter, hurts him. He was wide open for a 3.
If you're guarding him, you got to be off. You got to be off, and you got to be giving help.
Money McNeese goes to work. He couldn't finish. Sema at least altered the shot.
No, he did.
Sometimes when you're big, all you got to do is just
didn't give ground. I mean, it's an easy game. A lot of times we complicate it, but it's amazing. You just wall up, make somebody score over the top of you, especially at the college level. Guys struggle with that.
Carroll wasn't ready for it. Averett, I thought that was a pretty good idea.
No, it was. It was the right idea. Carroll kind of stopped his cut.
Carroll's got a double-double. Oklahoma State's turned it over 9 times in this half. Shine's doing a pretty good job these last few minutes on Young. 4 minutes to go. James finds Manek. Another three. No. Looked good. Just didn't go down. Those are big shots for the Sooners. These teams split in the regular season. Each team won on its home floor. Now a neutral court meeting.
We talk so much about the NCAA tournament, you kind of almost lose the fact that this is a huge rivalry game.
Yeah, huge
rivalry.
rivalry.
A lot on the line here.
Yeah, a Big 12 tournament championship means a lot. SEMA airballed it. Carroll stuck with it and scores.
That's the story of the game. I mean, you force SEMA into an incredibly tough shot, play great defense, but you just don't check out Jeffrey Carroll. All these guards, they're coming. You got to box out on every play.
Young, meanwhile, trying to sell a call. He doesn't get back. Shine goes all the way to the basket.
It's a beautiful Euro step. I mean, you avoid the defense. Right now, Oklahoma State now getting back to what they had success with early in this game. Getting on the glass, pushing the basketball in transition.
Well, it's not over, but that was a huge push from the Cowboys, who lead by 11.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. And Old Spice, je ne parle même pas français. Ooh la la.
You know that feeling that you only get this time of year?
And South Carolina makes history.
Welcome back.
Well, the idea for so many of these kids is to do a lot of dancing this month. All right, let's play a little game. We do this time of year. Blind resume, strength of schedule, very close, both excellent. BPI rank within the same realm, close. Conference wins, same number. Record versus top 25, same number of wins, essentially the exact same record. And the reveal, you probably knew what was going on here. Oklahoma State, one of those teams. Oklahoma, another, with a foul. That's a big bucket for the Sooners. The overall point is, I've been looking at this all day. In a vacuum, is a team in, is a team out? It's not that simple. It depends on the rest of the big picture, the rest of the teams in the field. How is it that Oklahoma is considered safely in and Oklahoma State is in dire straits, need to win this and maybe one more and maybe another one?
Yeah.
I don't get it. They look almost dead even to me on paper.
I'm right with you, and I think if they had the bad losses to kind of negate what they've done, I would understand. But it really is confusing.
And by the way, Kendall Smith was in for about how many seconds?
Yeah, not long.
I mean, you can't do that. You're supposed to be the point guard leader. He commits his 5th foul. He's on the bench for the rest of the game.
I would like to see his plus minus. I mean, with him on the floor, they have been so much better as a team.
You have to be a little smarter than that.
Right, and now it's going to be, we'll see. Can Brandon Averette run this team for the last 2 minutes against probably a pressing Oklahoma squad? Got to handle the ball, and that's not a good start. Man,
just a horrendous pass by Shine, and yet it wasn't stolen by Odoms. Good anticipation, just couldn't quite come up with it.
This has not been a good possession of basketball.
And yet they get a shot at the rim. No good. Off of Oklahoma. All of that. And I'll give Mitchell Solomon some credit just for chasing after the ball.
Keeping the ball alive.
Yep, kept it alive. And Oklahoma State with a fresh shot clock, a new 30.
I mean, Oklahoma had Oklahoma State's offense operating at about 40 feet.
Really good defense.
Very good defense.
Couldn't get the rebound. Hustle plays from Mitchell Solomon. That has been a theme this year for Oklahoma State.
Well, he's the MVP. I mean, Mike Boynton is absolutely correct when he says that. That's a great jump stop.
And McGriff maybe hurting a little bit, and I don't know if that's that wrist that he banged earlier. I think not. I think that's a different kind of pain. He'll go to the free throw line. That's when he usually finishes, one way or the other.
You see Mitchell Solomon. There's guys coming over to block his shot. Nice jump stop, nice fundamental play, and Jimoni McNeese has to grab Cam McGriff right there.
They are going to look at that one. There is at least a question. Was there some kind of play on the ball?
Yeah.
And I can understand. It wasn't malicious, wasn't mean-spirited.
Saving a basket. I mean, it was a last-ditch effort almost. He kind of wraps him up like a tackle in football.
You're not really supposed to do that.
Supposed to go upstairs and try to block the shot.
And they are going to call that a flagrant one. And I think sometimes you have to use common sense and say, was it a malicious play? No, but that's the rule.
Yeah.
You made
there was
no
intent
effort
to make a basketball play.
Yeah. And that, it's not going to put the game away. Still 2+ minutes to go, but it means free throws for McGriff and the ball for Oklahoma State.
You got to credit Mitchell Solomon there, though. You see so many bigs catch the basketball in that situation and plow somebody over. Right there, makes a nice fundamental jump stop. Gets to Cameron McGriff, who has made a living cutting off the baseline tonight.
Just a really nice play by Solomon, who does not want to see his career come to an end. He is not going to play pro ball. He probably would have a chance to play somewhere at some level, make a little money playing the game. He's a mechanical engineer.
He makes some money maybe doing some other
things. He's going to make money doing something else. So he knows this is it for his basketball career these next few days, few weeks, however long it lasts. And he's a guy playing with a lot of urgency. And this is kind of what we're talking about. Why is he the MVP of this team despite relatively modest counting numbers, points, rebounds? 2 plays this year really demonstrated, I think. The first was in the matchup with these Sooners. He picked Trae Young's pocket and found his teammate Shine for a dunk that, what, did it cut it to 1?
It's a complete effort play. I mean, I don't remember if it was to cut it to 1 or to tie the game. It was a really close game at that point. In a rivalry, lays his body on the line. And he's the type of guy, when you see a guy like him play, you just think to yourself, I would love to play with that dude. He's going to set screens. He's going to do whatever it takes to win for your squad.
And it was a couple weeks later at West Virginia. Huge win on the road in Morgantown. He did the same thing basically to Javon Carter. Talking about 2 Cousy finalists and a big guy picking their pockets, coming up with a hustle play and a loose ball. Maybe the 2 biggest plays of the year for Oklahoma State. That's a missed shot. Waters good defense, and guess who with the rebound?
Who comes up with it?
Let's send it over to Chris.
Well, Solomon told me today, I just want to be able to do all the little things I can to push my teammates. And his roommate is Lindy Waters, and he came to him earlier in the year and he said, Cam, I'm going to need you to step up a little bit and be more of a vocal leader. And Mitchell was taking him back, and he's like, that's not really in my nature. But he bleeds orange. He said, I'll do whatever I can, and he's really embraced that role.
Shot clock at 2. Waters, no good. Guess who? And guess what? Story of the game right there.
I mean, that dude has played his tail off.
Cowboys fans are starting to celebrate. I mean, you tell me, not you, Robbie, although you can tell me too. How do you look at the resumes, the seasons of these 2 teams and say that Oklahoma State's not in and Oklahoma is?
Well, they've swept Kansas. They've won in Morgantown. You look at the quality wins that they've had, I don't know.
And the celebration has begun for the Cowboys. Another basket goes down. Even with Kendall Smith in big-time foul trouble in the second half, they have figured out a way. And down the stretch, Mitchell Solomon has made a ton of big plays on both ends.
But nothing that will wow you. It's all fundamental, getting rebounds, playing the right way.
First team under Bill Self to sweep Kansas. And the rematch looks like it's coming. A chance for a 3rd win against the Jayhawks, because the winner of this one takes on Kansas tomorrow in the quarterfinals here in Kansas City. Again, we're parsing it down to like strength of schedule, computer numbers, based on what? Like the fact that the low-tier teams that they played were so bad that it's dragging everything down. They didn't lose any of those games. I really don't get the difference between these 2 teams, why one is securely in and why one isn't. The quality wins, I don't get it.
No, I'm with you. But from the eye test, they are absolutely an NCAA tournament team. They have brought the fight to Oklahoma. But you know what? They're going to get a chance. They're going to get to see Kansas, and they've had their number. Bill Self even said, look, they've been the better team. They've led for like 79 minutes of game time.
Javon Carter, Vito Bolden waiting there. tournament doesn't start until tomorrow. They'll play Baylor in the quarterfinals. West Virginia will. Here's the quote you're talking about. They're a lot better than us, and we won the league by 2 games. The 2 times we played them, it hasn't even been close, in my opinion. To ask if they're a tournament team, my answer would be an emphatic yes. And look, the last part of that statement, I'm not saying you can't agree or disagree that there's some other teams around the country that have better, but if Oklahoma is in, how is Oklahoma State not in? The resumes look identical to me.
And you talked about their non-conference schedule, but you're still going up in 18 games having to play this league. Yeah, it's just not. It's not okay. I really, you want the best teams in the tournament. And I get that some of the teams have to come from some of the automatic bids, but man, for them to be left out, it would be tough.
A bucket for the Sooners. By the way, following Cavs Nuggets over on ESPN tonight, Sports Center, Neil Everett, Stan Verrett getting ready. Breakdown of the Rockets trying to make it 17 wins in a row. Cavs road trip beginning. Louisville, huge win. Notre Dame not playing great. Oklahoma. Does this put them in any sort of jeopardy? Joe Lunardi thinks no, that they're safely in. I don't know.
You could have had a very comfortable Selection Sunday. And now I'm not sure you're going to have at least a comfortable one. You're going to be kind of sweating that one out.
I kind of feel the same way about NC State. NC State loses today to Boston College. I wouldn't be feeling great if I were a Wolfpack fan.
Well, as a player, you want to do your work early in this situation. You don't want to sit there on Selection Sunday and give the committee any chance to say they are not an NCAA tournament team.
Everybody said Oklahoma State had to have this one. They're going to let the shot clock go down. 14.5 seconds to go. By the way, we'll take a quick break, and then our next game, the final game of the night, Texas, Iowa State. There is huge intrigue and interest in that one from the perspective of the Longhorns, the 7th seed of this Big 12 tournament. Cyclones getting ready to go. They have dominated this event over the last few years. Totally different Iowa State team this season, and a loss to the Cyclones would be extremely damaging for Texas. You feel like they have to win just to avoid a bad loss.
No question. But you know what? Iowa State has competed. They don't have the bodies, but they've competed in every game, and if Texas doesn't bring it tonight, they're going to be in trouble.
They will be. Oklahoma State, we figured they had to have this one, and they get it. And in the end, pretty dominant fashion. They beat Oklahoma by 11. They will advance to face the #1 seed, Kansas, the first team to sweep the Jayhawks in the regular season under Bill Self. They can make it 3 in a row in 1 year, which would be something. That would be a statement.
It certainly would. Mike Boynton, I mean, to sweep Bill Self, that is a heck of a first year. But this is what the Big 12 tournament is going to be like. A lot of good teams, a lot of good basketball still to be played.
And we know almost everybody. Only one spot in the quarterfinals still to be determined. Texas, Iowa State coming up here in a few minutes. That'll be our second matchup of the night. The players celebrating here in Kansas City. We expect 4 wild days. Jeffrey Carroll and company. A few shaky moments in the second half. Otherwise, Oklahoma State really dominated this one. Chris Budden standing by with one of the stars for the Cowboys.
Volume 3 for Bedlam this time around. What was the difference for you guys?
You know, we just executed our game plan. We came out when we played hard on both ends of the court and crashed the glass.
There was a moment there in the second half where the Sooners started to gain momentum. How did you hold them off this go-around?
No, they're a good team. You know, we just know we have to withstand their run and get key stops in big-time moments.
There was a moment where Coach kind of pressed you guys to show some more energy, show some more fight. Where does that come from?
You know, it just comes from within, man. You know, this team we've been fighting hard, you know, all season. We know that when we come down to the crunch time, we have to make big plays.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Not even a half hour from now, we'll have the second game of the night from Kansas City. For Robbie Hummel, for Chris Budden, for Dave Fleming. So long for a few minutes at least. Oklahoma State 71-60. Don't go away, though. Texas, Iowa State still to come.